Hey guys, Glenn from Fieldmagic here, and what I want to do here is run through a number of the new features that we've been releasing in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Been a very busy time for releases. Those that are on the platform would have seen a lot of that stuff coming through. First one of those is the ability to streamline the creation of your asset types and inspection checklists, which form the basis of all of your inspections using AI. So what have we done here? Before I jump into that, I'll run through how we set up our asset types and how we set up our checklists. The asset types are, for example, a fire door or a fire extinguisher, where within those assets, you've got variants, so different types of fire extinguishers. You've got what the possible defects are and what the severity of those defects are. That could be a critical defect, it could be a non-conformance, it could just be a recommendation, right? So we've got a range of different options there. And within that, we have our inspection checklists themselves. We have given you the ability to have a global checklist for a given asset type, but you can also customize those checklists per variant as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in and give you a demonstration of this and show you how it actually works. First things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into my Fieldmagic system. I am going to go and have a look at my asset types. I've already got fire extinguishers there. And if I have a look at that example, we've got our variants, or within the main asset type, we've got our application standards, we've got our variants, different types of fire extinguisher, defects, possible defects, and then our inspection checklist. Just to explain what the possible defects are, when you fail an asset or fail any one of the prompts, these are the defects that are available to be attached to the asset. Those are then used for quoting, and they live with the asset until you go and resolve them. Or even in the future, you'll be able to see the history of all of the defects that have occurred against an asset. What I'm going to do, obviously, this is something that can take some time to set up in the initial phases. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new asset type. Let's say a fire door. I'm going to create that as 1851. Now, we actually have all of the 1851 standards in our system as template anyway, but just because we've been doing a lot of fire safety shows lately, I'm going to use my AI to generate this rather than just using one of my pre-existing templates. What I'm going to do is I'm going to generate my variants. It is then going to generate or suggest the possible variants associated with fire doors for the 1851 standard. We can then go and adjust those. We can delete, remove, add our own options, whatever we want to do there. Generates the variant and a description there. We can do the same for our defects. You can imagine just how much time this actually saves in the long run. So there are our defects. And then we have our inspection checklist. The default one is the global one, and we can also customize them per variant as well. And so this is for fire doors and include annual. I don't recall if they are 6 monthly or annual or both, but we'll see what the AI says. What that's actually done is it's generated the recommended inspection checklist for every 6 months and then one for the annual as well. What I've now done is I've now set that up and I can go and create my recurring job for that particular asset type. Really, really quick, easy way to set those up. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to extend this and show you how all of this new capability ties into the rest of the system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go for an existing job. This job was created from, no, it hasn't been created yet. So I'm going to go into my option to generate my scheduled jobs. I'm going to generate one ahead of time there so we can demonstrate this. It's gone and created a new job for me, awaiting scheduling, monthly fire extinguishers. I see against this, I've got my existing extinguishers already there. There's no defects at the moment found on this. We haven't scheduled it yet. I'm now going to go and schedule that for today. All right, and what I'm going to do is I am going to go into my mobile app and show what that actually looks like. We've got our job that's been scheduled. It downloads everything it needs to work offline. I start my job. I go into my asset inspections and I can inspect all my assets. I can either scan a QR code or I can just go through them one by one and inspect them based on a work order. If I go and let's say I wanted to inspect that particular asset, I can go through, I can mark all as passed if I want. Or I can, if I fail any, it will give me the option to add or update any defects. Those were the existing 2 defects on that asset. I can add more defects as well and add comments there. You also have the ability to set default defects for each failed prompt. Okay, so if this one fails, it'll automatically add extinguisher not accessible. What I can now do is I can add any of my commonly used parts, I can add any photos, and I can save that, and that has now been updated, and that's a failed inspection. If I was to create a new asset, I can see that it'll default to fire extinguisher because that's what I'm inspecting on this job. I can select my variant, capture my serial number, and so on from there, and then I can inspect. Very, very straightforward to do that. I'm now going to stop my job, save my time, and I am good to go. What I'm going to do here is I'm now going to show what that looks like in the desktop environment. Okay, so let's have a look at this job now. All right, so over here, you can see we've got one new defect. Okay, so this is the new defect we added. Okay, and we can also see a breakdown of, like if we had a look at the asset itself, we can also see the defects on the asset itself. Okay, so what I can now do is if I were to generate an inspection summary report, I can either do it as a summary, which we'll often do for fire extinguishers, or I can do it in the or I can do the full checklist. Where that's actually configured, if we go over here to our asset types, okay, and we have a look at our fire extinguisher, you can actually select the configuration option of the system there. Okay, so in this case, we'll say we want a full inspection report. We want serial number, location, status, and so on from there. Okay, so that is the details there. And if we go over here, sorry, if we go have a look at our job we created earlier, and we actually go and do our inspection summary. Okay, we can see that we've got the summary at the top. We can click a link to see the full details there. This will show us all the defects that were captured in that particular inspection. So we capture overall defects but in the report we show the new defects. Okay, and then we show the full detail there because I selected the option to have the full detail of the inspection. I've got a link to view all the high resolution images as well. Okay, and we can see the whole process there. Okay, so all of that is now available in our production environment. So if you're anyone doing asset inspections, but particularly fire safety, some really strong workflows. And from there, of course, we can generate our quotes of all of our defects, and that will take that through to the quoting screen as well. Hope that all makes sense. Thanks, guys.